We also found out here recently that the Oklahoma spring game is set for Saturday, April 22nd at the conclusion of spring practice.
Yeah. Now that'll be interesting this year, Mark. I mean, I think when you look at how things were last year to where they are, right now, there was, the Oklahoma fans had the shiny new toy, and they wanted to go out and see it and watch it and see what it looked like. And and Oklahoma had the highest attended spring game in the country, I believe, last year. So what will that look like a year after that with the 6 and 7 season? I think the fan base is still excited. I think they are. I think very cautious. Cautiously optimistic is probably the word that the phrase that I would use. I think there's a lot of I mean there's going to be a lot of newness to this team in terms of roster turnover that wasn't necessarily dissimilar last year. We had talked about how there was about 40% of this roster, 35% of this roster that was new. It's going to be very similar this year. I think probably, Mark. I think the thing that's going to bring a lot of people here for this spring game is the quarterback competition. I think there is a lot of last year there was a little bit of unknown with Dylan Gabriel, right? A lot of people wanted to see him. They saw him from, when he was at UCF, but wanted to see him in person at Oklahoma and see what that looked like. Now, the backup quarterback's always the most popular kid in the fan base's mind, typically. So there's going to be just an insane amount of pressure on Dylan Gabriel this year, and it's going to start with the spring game, and just to see how good he is. If you see a guy, I think the first sign of struggle and the first sign of success that Jackson Arnold has is is going to be something to look out for. And I don't know, Mark. I mean, we've talked about this a lot in terms of true freshmen. It's hard for, specifically at the quarterback position, it's hard for true freshmen to come in and start immediately. And I'm just kind of, as we're talking here, Mark, trying to rack my brain. I'm trying to remember the first, and I'm sure I'm just missing someone who's obvious, but the last true freshman that came in to start the season. We've got some people like Trevor Lawrence that started midseason. Kate Klubnik kind of started towards the end of the season this past year. But trying to remember a true freshman that started day one. And so I think the benefit that Jackson Arnold is getting is that he's coming in the spring. He's going to be able to kind of go through that stuff, learn the offense and things like that. But I think the thing that probably wouldn't be disputed is the fact that Jackson Arnold is probably more physically talented than Dylan Gabriel. He's got a better release. He's got a stronger arm. He's a little bit more mobile and can run a little bit better in the pocket. And this kid is coming in with just tons of accolades. Gatorade National Player of the Year, Texas State Player of the Year, Elite 11 MVP 2 consecutive years in a row. Like he's a guy at the likes of a Spencer Rattler, the likes of a Caleb Williams that's coming in here. That is, I think, number 6 player in the country, and so I mean, there's a lot of pressure on Dylan Gabriel and seeing what that looks like. And there's always some thoughts, and there's always some there's going to continue to be a lot of concern, skepticism on the defensive side. But I think it's a little bit of skepticism that's met with the thought that, okay, once Brent and this team is able to get their guys in, they feel comfortable now with all the additions from the transfer portal and this recruiting class coming in, and then the second year of this freshman class here in 2022. What does that look like? So it'll be very intriguing to see, I think, if the fans flock to to the stadium at the same level that they were last year.